Hello everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we're finding, learning, turning the great strategy games, and today we're on to turn 5 in War in the East 2, and we got some work to do, guys. We've got to set up this Air Force now that, or the Luftwaffe, sorry. I have been, sorry I'm a little bit late, by the way. I was over in the Pacific Theater. Franklin Delano Roosevelt has now traded me to the Germans for a player to be named later and a bag of soccer balls. That's all he got. He's like, get out of here. Get over to the Eastern Front. Go mess that up. We are not messing it up. We're doing quite well. And as a matter of fact, when you look at the map, you can kind of see your progress if you have your victory locations up. So map info, victory locations. You can kind of see because you get bonus points if you capture things before they were historically captured. And we've talked about that before. You can put the historical capture dates on here, and when you really zoom in, you can see when they are. But if you zoom back out and you just want to see quickly how you're doing and take those off, you can see how many bonus points you would get if you captured that town this turn. So of course the maximum, as you can see, is 6 bonus points. We're right on schedule to Smolensk. As a matter of fact, we may be a little early. Now, I'm not sure if I'm actually going to make a play to take Smolensk this time. We may try to encircle it instead, but we're certainly here right on time. Pskov, if we can get up into Pskov this time, we would get 1 bonus point. We're ahead of schedule out to Tallinn. We will be getting to Tallinn very quickly here. Maybe to Rezhev quite early. If we look down here, now, Kiev is going to be close. We'll see. Kharkov, Kursk, Orel, Voronezh. I don't usually go after these. I always leave this kind of, I don't mess around with it. In this game, with the point system the way it is, and this new initiative, I am going to go after them, and we're going to go after them mainly with the Second Army. At least Kursk and Kharkov. Probably Fourth Army, try to pick up with Orel with that before we head straight north. But yeah, I'm going to go after these ones in the middle. But we're right on time. We're right on time. If we were to get Odessa this turn, which we won't, but if we were to, we would get 6, meaning we'll get 4 or 2 if we get Odessa in the coming turns. And we should. We should. Let's see exactly when Odessa was captured. Oh, wow, October 16th. Well, I would certainly hope we have it by October 16th. Hopefully we can pick up a lot of bonus points there. It's part of the reason I have the 11th Army down here helping, because that is a lot of points you can pick up, bonus points. I mean, October 16th, a long ways away in this game. It is July 20th, which just so happens to be my birthday. Hey, now it's not today, so you can't say happy birthday. And before any of you smartasses say it, I was not alive in 1941, as hard as you may find that to believe. I did not celebrate July 20th, 1941. Yeah, I'm going west, I'm going east. Stanley, I can't keep track of where I'm going, my friend. John Konitzer, ahoy to you. Hello, Jeff. Jeff, I'm sorry about Air War Part 3. It cut out. It cut out right before the big season finale. So if you guys weren't watching the Air War, we set up all of turn 1. That's actually a good thing to talk about right at the start. What did I learn? Well, we are going to be setting up all of our air forces now. As you can see, I have AI Air Assist off. I'm done with it. I'm not saying it does a terrible job. It also does not do a good job. And so AI assist is off. But if you didn't watch the Air War, we did all of this, we set up in part 1, we started setting everything up. Then by part 2, I had changed my mind about some things. We went in there, we were figuring out air directives and priorities and X, Y, and Z. We get to part 3 and I set everything else up and I was like, okay, let's go. We're ready to see what the results would be. And we got about halfway through Luftflotte 2 with the results. So you can see like half of it, and it out went the stream. And I was like, of course, we haven't had a stream problem forever. And out it went. It ended up 3,100 Soviet losses to 320 Axis losses. Thank you, DeFizzle. I like to think I'm so cool. Yeah, so cool. But no, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. I'm glad you subbed. Good to hear. Good to hear. Sign up for the Discord too. Get on there. We always have fun on there. Um, oh yeah. So but anyway, the stream cut out, and we got to the end, and I didn't realize it had cut out, and I was just yapping away. And I get to the end, and I go back and I look at the stream, and it says I'd been streaming for like 2 minutes and 32 seconds. I was like, what? Um, but yeah, unfortunately, and there's no video in between. So I have the very end where I go through, hey, what happened? But nothing that shows what happened in the rest of Luftflotte 2 and Luftflotte 4. I can, spoiler alert, there was a lot of bombing of airfields that happened. What did I learn? There were three things I really learned. Okay. One is recon on turn one is worthless and you're just wasting planes. So don't do any recon on turn one. That's one thing I learned. The second thing I learned was the order you put your air directives in matters. The game will go from top to bottom. And so when you go to set that in, do all of the air bases that have fighters on them, do them first in your air directives, okay, before you do the bombers. Even though you have them at a higher priority, if they're not higher up on the list, there's a chance they won't go first, okay? And so, if the game looks and it says, hey, I've got plenty of planes to do all these directives, it may pick a normal priority mission to run first. That is not how I would have designed the game, but now I understand that's how it works. So do your directives in the actual order you want them to be done, even if you have the priorities different, okay? Although really those should probably kind of be the same, right? If you want something done first, put it higher on the list and make it very high priority. Anyway, so I learned that. The third thing I learned is that plotting out your missions really does matter. Now, I wasn't going to take the time while you guys were watching to plot so that I never crossed any Soviet urban areas that may have anti-aircraft defenses. But what'll happen, right, is you run a bombing mission. I'm just making up something, but you run a bombing mission out here, okay? And so it's coming from back here, and maybe it flies over Vilnius before it goes up there. That's just how the game sets it up. Now, the game wouldn't. It always does it in a straight line. But let's just say, oh, okay, it went over Kaunas. We took off from here, it went over Kaunas, and it goes out here and bombs, and then it comes straight back over Kaunas again. Well, if Kaunas has AA, it can shoot things down. And so I actually would go in. Hey, Tack, what's up? So I would, if I was doing it all over again and was just taking all the time I would if I was playing another human or something, I would go in and set the plot points to make sure those missions don't run over urban areas or cities. A town isn't really going to matter, but anything from a city above. That's a good question, Mr. Konitzer. It could. Now, here's what I would say, though. I would not do that. Not now. I mean, not on turn one. Maybe later on, like where we are now. What he's asking is strategic bombing to take out rail lines. And so really that's, or you could do straight up interdiction, right? Or you could hit the towns themselves that have rail yards and try to disrupt that. Even now, I probably wouldn't do it. The reason being is you're still gobbling up all of this territory. The Soviets are in full retreat, and I get what you're saying about, potential reinforcements they wouldn't get, potential supply, potential fuel. You could make the case, but you would also be damaging rail yards eventually you're going to use anyway. So they're going to be your rail yards. So there's a fine line there. I can see some of the utility of it. I probably won't do it. But I can see why you would. I can see the argument for it. Let's put it that way. One other thing, the logistics tutorial will be out tomorrow morning. I'm going to hold that one. I put the War in the West up. I've got the logistics for this about done. So I put the War in the West about hexes and counters up. War in the East 2 logistics will be up tomorrow. So if you've been waiting for that one, I am going to go through all the way from back at National Supply Centers, and we are going to trace freight all the way to the front, actually using this Let's Play, and we are going to figure out what rail lines should be repaired and when, and also how you should set up your depots. Like right now I have this depot on a 4. It really doesn't make a lot of sense because the rail's not already there. Really, Minsk is where all of it's going to be coming in, but we'll get into all that. We'll also, well, I can't go to rail mode now to show you rail yards and their size, but that's very important. The depot system will be easy to you once you see it and visualize it. We'll get it all figured out. I don't want to say I've got 100% figured out, but I think 99% I've got figured out. So let's start turn 5 by looking at breaking news. And what do we have here? We have Winston Churchill given the V. July 19th, 1941, Prime Minister Winston Churchill referred approvingly to the V for Victory campaign in a speech. From that point forward, he started using the V hand signal. It was unofficially adopted as an Allied signal along with the motif of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Oh, interesting. Okay. The Germans also adopted the V sign, sometimes adding laurel leaves underneath it, painting their own Vs on walls, vehicles, and adding a massive V on the Eiffel Tower. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever seen the sci-fi limited series V, where we're invaded by aliens, but that was, there were also Vs painted everywhere for that. Garrison shortage in Western Europe. Shortage in Axis requirements in Western Europe causes political problems. Axis loses 1 VP and 1 AP. Well, I don't like that. Nothing we can do about that, though. The game is handling the theater boxes, which means it should balance things perfectly so everything happens historically as it would. So this is the kind of thing that was going to happen anyway, unless we were controlling the theater boxes and we threw a bunch of these security units immediately into the Western European theater box. But if you're just playing historical and letting the game handle the theater boxes, this was going to happen. It didn't have anything to do with something we did. Axis capture Salmi. Advancing Finnish forces reached the north shore of Lake Ladoga and capture Salmi. Ladoga, Karelia, is captured by the Axis. The Finnish theater box Axis. Okay, so the Finns are on the move. Now, in the old game, if we were, and this, you can see it, this is what happened. So now the Finns, this is Axis purple. You can see the Finns have moved in here from the border. And if we get really close down in here, I guess we could see the border somewhere. Well, I guess the Finns would claim this should be the border. Oh, there's the border. Okay. No, these are impassable hexes. Why can't I see the border on here? I guess it doesn't matter, right? You can see the border there. Anyway, the point is this is now Axis controlled territory that will continue down here right to this river essentially, and then over here it will continue down pretty much to about right there, and so the Finns will continue to move down there. I guess this is the theater box, or these darkly colored hexes are telling you this is all theater box, and so that's exactly where they'll stop. Okay. Well, we're not doing anything with the theater boxes, so go Finns, go. Yes, watch the rail yard. You've got to figure out your rail yards, what has the maximum capacity. For instance, I built this here. It does not have a rail yard. That makes no sense. I shouldn't have done that. Also, one thing that I'm doing is I'm moving up here with my rail unit. It doesn't really make sense. This one in the north, I should... Once I get it to Riga, I should immediately bring it down here and connect this heavy or double rail out of Vilnius straight up here, and then have this be the one that goes to Pskov. Now, in the old game, when there was no differentiation between the rail, you came to Riga, you kept going up here, and then you just did a right-hand turn up here and eventually came to Pskov. Now what we're going to do is take this back down here, and actually, I guess we can look at the rail. If you look at the rail, This should be coming up here. We should repair this and come straight down here to Vilnius. And then this is a major depot of 4. It's got rail yards. This is a major depot 4, and do it that way. So, you know, that's just you live and you learn, right? But luckily, I've kind of figured all that out. Oh, so this will be a 4 too. Riga will be. So 4, 4, 4. We could set some smaller ones up, but then we'll have Pskov be a 4, and that'll be our major supply base up here in the north. Anyway, and then we'll crank these down to a 3. Not this one. We're going to get rid of this one, actually. We're going to make these 3 be a 3. Pskov will be a 4. Vitebsk and Smolensk will be 4s. Everything kind of out here on the perimeter will be a 4. Okay, enough logistics talk. We'll do that next time. This time, let's go see what we got reinforced with. Now, somebody asked me to bring this up, but I can't remember. Oh, the Italians. They wanted to know when the Italians were coming in. And there you see it, my friend. So if you were wondering about the Italians, it looks like they all come in here. You can see reinforcement, reinforcement, reinforcement. They come on the map. They're ready to go. Right here, the Italians in turn 8, August 10th, 1941. Italianos, get over here. They'll bring the pasta and the wine, and we'll have a good time. It did rhyme, my wife, who's half Italian, says. It did. It did. Thank you, dear. Right. Okay, what else did I want to... Oh, well, let's look at our reinforcements for this time. That's kind of important. A lot of these are going to the reserves, all right? So we could bring them in. We're going to let the game do all of that again, but we did get one thing on the map, and that is the 1st RFSS Motorized Brigade, okay? And again, you got some things that went into the Italy theater box, Finland, Western Europe, Finland, a bunch in green. These are all went into our reserves, but these are all battalions. They're all support units, right? So, you know, no biggie. All right, this is where that unit came in. We can't really see it because I've got victory points on, I've got logistics on, but it is here in Krakow, right there. You can see it, and if we click off this for a second, it's the 1st RFSS Motorized Brigade. We'll try to catch it. If you back up, it's down here on the southern front. With Army Group South, we'll eventually put that in 1st Panzer and have that get, you know, out here doing some recon or out in front of the Panzers anyway, as a straight up motorized unit. Right, okay, let's get back then to what else is going on up in this screen. I think that was it for the reinforcements. You can see, oh, we did get 3. Let's look at the error, what came in. Turn 5. Arrived, and these are in the Axis reserves. Now, we didn't really have anything in the reserves before this, any planes. So now we've got the 1094Bs. What are those all about? It's a fighter bomber. Guess that makes sense. Okay, it was trained or is being trained as a bomber. Now, if we were controlling those theater boxes, the reserves theater box, we could switch that. I guess we probably could anyway, but we're not going to. We've got some more recon craft. That's probably a good thing because we lost way too many. So here's 2 squadrons or 2 air groups of recon. Next time we get the Italian fighter group, hey, but they're going to North Africa. You know, we get some Axis reserves, but we don't get a lot of planes. If you look here, I mean, a lot of them go to the reserves first to train, and then the game will transfer them out onto the map. But we're not getting a whole lot, and that's one thing I'm really kind of not happy with what the game did. We've lost a lot of aircraft, a lot more aircraft than the Axis did historically, a lot more than we would have in the first game, and a lot more than I would have in this game now. But we've already lost them, so that's fine. Somebody said, hey, you should start over. I'm not starting over. Are you kidding me? We are going to win this thing. We're going to overcome all obstacles. Nothing can stop us. I've got Joe Stalin literally shaking in his boots. All right, we're going to move our air forces around this time. Before we do that, we can see a lot of things went off the map. Some of them went to reserves. We just lost some things. Men, guns, AFVs. aircraft. We lost a little bit of everything. You can see into the theater boxes, this stuff goes. So you can see how much of that went into the theater boxes. They've already transferred. Soviet total. Yeah, the Soviets keep adding men. Imagine that. Now, last turn, we lost 28,000 men, friendly losses, 310 guns, 78 AFVs, and a lot of aircraft. Again, we got to get that under control. The logistics are looking okay. I looked at the movement points before we started here. We do have a few problems. You know, a 19 movement points when naturally that would be a 50, 25, 20. But, you know, once you get out here, that's going to happen. Our infantry is looking pretty decent. As long as you're staying in double digits, you've got them doing okay. And if you look down here, 30, 35, we were, you know, getting fuel in here a lot better. Now, our biggest problem probably is, you know, these Panzer divisions out here. We're going to bust them south, meet up with 4th Army, and hopefully we'll capture Vitebsk this time, and we'll get the railway up here further, and we can start getting these guys supplied. So, you know, again, we don't draw off of railheads anymore. We draw off of depots, and our closest real depot that's operational is Minsk. So that's a long ways to get fuel and supply. If you're ever wondering what's kind of the general rule, well, it's not a general rule, it's a pretty specific one. You've got to be within 30 hexes or 75 movement points of the depot to really draw off of it, okay? And so just keep those in mind, those numbers. Now, we were trying to build a depot here, but the railway's not there yet, so trucks would have to take it from Minsk to here to distribute them. Not a very efficient way of doing things. Let's move our air forces around. Let's just look at our air forces. So let's get this off. We have 12 units that are now under strength, 3 that are unready. We're not going to go look at those because none of them, there's nothing we can do about it that we're not already going to do anyway. And so let's look, where the heck is Luftflotte 1? It's all the way down here. So we must have had a unit transfer all the way down here. Luftflotte 1, we're going to keep on asset priority 2. Supply priority 3, I was thinking about cranking that down to a 2. As a matter of fact, not only thinking about it, we're going to make that a 2. Mixed mission, normal, fine. Flexible, we're following 4th Panzer Group. But why is our command box so big? And as you can see, this brings up a philosophical question. Fliegerführer Ostsee is all the way down here. Why is it down here? Because the game in AI Assist was going to have it run interdiction out here around Odessa. Now, interdiction is not something, especially naval interdiction, is not really something we've talked much about. As you can see, the Soviets have naval interdiction here. What does that mean? Well, in this case, where they control Odessa, this is protecting their routes in to supply Odessa. Okay, and so if you did not want Odessa, let's say we had surrounded Odessa, we basically had it in a siege situation, and you did not want Odessa to be getting fuel, supply, and ammo, the 3 biggies, fuel and supply and ammo. If you did not want the Soviets to get that up to Odessa out of this port or any other port for that matter, you would fly interdiction out here and you would try to knock down the Soviet interdiction levels and turn them into Axis interdiction levels. And once they turn into Axis interdiction levels, then all of a sudden you're blocking supply to a certain extent, right? And you can see the different numbers here. 1, 2, 2, 2. This is all Soviet. This is Soviet interdiction. And you may say, well, why would they interdict their own supplies? They're not. They're setting down a defensive interdiction for when you try to interdict into Odessa. Does that make sense? Maybe a better way to show this is up at Riga. And you can see here that we, as the Axis, do have some interdiction. I'll call it like offensive, or no, just the opposite. I'll call this defensive interdiction. We control Riga now. So we're interdicting in these hexes, and as you can see, the Soviets are interdicting in these hexes, and so are we. We're kind of fighting back and forth for control, and the Soviets are trying to block our access into the Gulf of Riga to bring supplies to Riga. big overall supply, fuel, and ammunition. And so that's naval interdiction. So the game has shifted Flieger für Ostsee all the way down here to help with Odessa. I don't like that. And you may say, why? I mean, there's really only two places that you're going to be doing. Well, there's three places on the map. Essentially, you're going to do naval interdiction in the first year, or you could do it. One is Riga. One, and you can see we've got interdiction out here protecting our ports, right? One is Odessa, one is Riga, and one is Leningrad out over Lake Ladoga. Or, well, you could do it to the west or the east, probably both for Leningrad, right? Depending on how the Finns are doing up there. All right, I don't care about the interdiction levels in Odessa. Now, I know some people are going to say, what? That's exactly where you should care about them. I don't, because I know we're going to take Odessa relatively soon, and I don't have any reason necessarily to have to get a lot of supply into Odessa, because, I mean, there are railways running from Bucharest, from Prague, Vienna, which are national supply centers, that are going to be supplying us here. Now, it would be nice to have, you know, Axis transports bringing supply to Odessa and having that go up here. But ultimately, we're going to take this quickly. So I don't care about the Soviets being resupplied here. And I don't really care about our troops. It's not that I don't care about it. It's not my number one priority. My priority is to open up Riga right now to try to get German shipping into Riga. So we're going to take Flieger für Ostsee, and we are going to put it all the way up here, if we can get up here. I'm not even sure if we can get all the way back up here. But we're going to put it up here at, sure, we'll put it at Ventspils. I think it already has a bombing group here, but we're going to get that out of here. So let's see if we can bring it this far. I don't know if we can. We can. And that should only be 1% of our air miles. So we're going to bring it up here. We're going to do it immediately. And there we go. All right, so now this is up here. We are not going to have this follow 4th Panzer Group. We are going to have this do naval interdiction at Riga. Okay, perfect. Okay, now there you see it. Naval Ops Riga, FHQ none, supply priority, asset priority. That was set at, you know, Luftflotte 1. And we're just going to have this hold for now. So this one will be on a hold. And we're just going to have it sit here and do naval interdiction. That's what that unit is for, and that's what we're going to have it do. Okay, 4th Panzer Group, to me, is based a little too far forward. And you may say, well, I thought you want your recon groups up there. I have kind of rethought that a little bit. The reason is I want my bombers and my fighters up at the front. And here we've got all of our, well, we've got the fighters up here, but we've got all of our recon aircraft way up here. I don't like that. So first of all, let's deal with the fighters. JG-54, you may be saying, hey, that's pretty good, but why not move them up here where they're even closer to the action? I think that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to move them over here to Valmyra. Now, it will show them with a deficit of support. Of course, we don't have any support men there yet, but the support men should start to move up there in the air execution phase, just automatically. So immediate transfer, we are going to put our fighters right up here at the front. And as you can see, we're a little low on everything, but what we're going to do is bring this railroad unit up here to Valmyra. Now, the problem with Valmyra is it doesn't have a rail yard, and I wish it did. Can I get to Valmyra? Come on, get off there. Okay. I don't believe it does. Let's look at Valmyra. Yeah, it does not have a rail yard, so they're only going to be here for one turn. So actually, I'm not going to bring this up here. I'm going to move the fighters over to Pskov, assuming we take it this turn. I will move them there next turn, and we're going to have everything running into Pskov, and so we'll build a depot there. We've got a level 2 airport there. You've got all of these other airports we'll take, but for right now, we're going to have the fighters over here. All right, that's JG-54. The problem is we don't have a lot of airports out here, and if I was doing everything again, I would have built some. And you can do that, of course. We could go, we could go to this hex and build an airport. But that ship has sailed, so they say. So we're not going to worry about it. I'm not going to cry about it. Maybe I will a little bit. But what we're going to do, actually, though, in reality, is we're going to move these recon back. And I'm going to start doing this a little different. I'm going to have my recon back here. Now, as you can see, we already moved everything out of here. Oh, you know what? Actually, let's cancel that. Let's cancel that transfer. I'm going to move them to bases that right now have bomber groups. Why? Because those places already have support, and we know that. And vice versa. We can put the bomber. Let's do the bombers first. Let's do KG-77, and let's move it there to Doggo Pills. Now we know it's got support. It's already got planes there, and it's going to maybe show a little bit of overstacking. We'll see. Not quite, not quite. No, actually, we're in pretty good shape. Now it's showing us orange there, but that's only until we get the recon aircraft back there. And so we're going to click on Koloff 16. We're going to control it and release it, and then we'll do that as an immediate transfer. Now, one thing I must say, I have no idea what the AI is doing with our transport aircraft. It's got them like way back here in the back. No, it's got it way over here. It's not even at a good base. I don't really understand why it's over there. I don't know when exactly I'm going to move it, but I'm going to move it. And I think I want it in like Riga, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to move it for now. Okay, so we've got OSC up here. Call left 18 can be here. That's fine. Call left 2, I have no idea why the game would put it there. It's not doing any good there. So we're going to move that down here to these two bases. Release that. Okay, we're going to do an immediate transfer there. All right, so now we're getting, a few of our recon aircraft out here. Call of 16, Call of 2. Again, KG-76, I'm going to send that back down to the south. I'm not really sure why the game thought it was a good idea to bring them up here, but I don't like it. We could put Call of 4. Okay, let's go get another bomber group. And where is Call of North? Where is it sitting? Let's take this off again and see. Oh, we got a level 2 airfield there as well. Okay, so we're going to put our bombers up here in Dragopils. Easy for me to say. KG-1. We're going to fly it there. We'll do an immediate transfer. Yes. All right, and you can see what I'm doing. I'm bringing my fighters and my bombers up. Now, when I was first messing around with the game here, I didn't realize that that's what I should do, but we're going to correct it here. Immediate. Okay. Why is it showing so much red there? I thought we had something there before. I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right. So now we've moved these call-ups back. And we've got one more here, call left 18, but I think it's fine. We got the transport group. We've got two bombers, two bombing groups. We've got our fighter group. Don't we have one more bomber group? We have oh, I know what it is. It's this, the game gave this command to Luftflotte 4. It put it all the way down in 4 Flieger Corps. I don't know why it did that, but we're going to switch that back to 1 Flieger Corps. So now it's commanded and it will be blue again, and you can see that here. And we're going to spread that across these 2 airfields. So they both have support. Neither one's overstacked yet. That works. That works. Okay, so we're going to fly them out of here up to those guys. We're going to do an immediate transfer. Okay, excellent. So now 92%. Now 125, 123. That's okay. That's okay. We don't have enough ammunition here, but they should have ammunition. It's fine. So we've got our bombers, set right here. We've got our fighters up here. We've got, you know what? I'm tempted, though, to move this up to Riga. Okay, let's do that. Let's actually put that in Riga. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because Riga actually has a bigger air base, and it should be fine. Yeah, 87%. And then if we look at these, so if I look at KG1, 93%. So we got it underneath the overstacking problem. 92, 93, 97. So I can leave call of 4 here because it's not overstacked, and that all looks good to me. Okay, so let's go back and look at the overall big commands. 2 and 2, flexible, mixed mission, normal. That all looks good. We're not gonna, it doesn't have to be set to Naval Ops. 4th Panzer Group, nope. We're going to change that now, and we're going to do it just the opposite. We're going to have recon aircraft follow 18th Army a little further behind, and we're going to have 1 Flieger Corps, on the other hand, follow 4th Panzer Group. So I'm completely mixing those back. We're going to put all of these on 2, flexible. That's all good. So that's 1 Flieger Corps, and it should have set all of these underneath here to this. 18th Army, we do need to go back and reset this because we changed it at the higher level, so it flipped over. So let's put that on Riga again to do naval interdiction. Perfect. I don't think any of these others we have to worry about. 18th Army, no. Call left 18, no. Or I mean, call left north, call left 18. Transport, we're not going to move that this time, although I do want that on flexible. Actually, I want it on advance. Let's get it a little further up here. I don't know why they have it so far back here and not on a major depot. We've got these guys back here. That all looks fine. Okay, now then. We may as well stick with Luftflotte 1. Yep, I totally agree, M60, and I was going to say that. When we get to the ground movement phase, we will be doing air resupply ourselves. I think it does a really bad job. It likes to move freight, right? It's moving freight, which could be general supply, fuel, or ammunition, or even replacements, I guess. It likes to move them way behind the lines, though, just like from depots back in Germany to Prague or something. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Yes, M60, eventually, if we do get down into the Crimea, in and around the big citadel, we would have to maybe do some naval interdiction down there. But for now, I'm worried about Riga, and then I'll worry about Leningrad, since that's like objective #1. That's right, Falcons, you've got it. Put the transports in a place that has stored supplies. Yeah. Spiral Megatron, yes, the AI on defense is much better. I think so anyway. I think it's playing the Soviets much better. I really don't like what it's doing with my Air Force, but that's okay. We're now correcting that. So let's go to our air directives and see what it is doing up here in the north. And it's got Luftflotte 1 doing ground support for 16th Army. And that's it, and it's got a bunch of recon missions. All right, we're going to get rid of the recon missions. Okay, and we are going to go to this ground support mission. That's fine, but we're also going to do one for 18th Army. 18th Army, Flotte 1. Now, we could just do this straight as 1 Flieger Corps, because that's really who we want doing it. But I don't want to make it that specific, because then I'd have to go back and like mix and match with the ground support that we're doing for 16th Army. But this is pretty much all I'm going to have our Luftwaffe do, which is ground support for our ground forces. Traditionally, that's pretty much all they did. Now, we are running some naval interdiction, right? And you don't have to set that up as an air directive. You can do naval patrol. How does that work? I haven't set one of these up. Naval patrol? That's kind of what we're already doing, though, right? I mean, we're running naval ops. That's actually an interesting question. Sorry, I just don't off the top of my head know the answer to that. I don't know. Let's set one up and see what happens. Okay, it is coming. Now it's coming out of this bomber group, but I guess we could put Aussie on it. Huh. Interesting. Well, I'm going to leave that off for now and do the general naval ops. But before next episode, I will find out an answer. We will not run this air execution till I know the answer to that. What kind of differentiates those two things? Okay, we could look at ground attack. Are we going to do any ground attack? Not really. I mean, we could do like some strategic type bombing way up here if we wanted to get crazy, but I don't think we really want to. I think we just want to do ground support. What about recon? So far from what I can tell in this game, recon is really, really not as good as it was in the last game. Meaning you get a lot of planes that get blown out of the sky, recon planes, and maybe I'm not flying them at a high enough altitude. So this time I am going to test trying to fly them at a much higher altitude and see what happens. And I'm going to keep it very close here to the front line. So for instance, I'm just going to fly it there. And we are going to put the altitude up at like 25,000 feet and just see if they continue. Now, there is no way anti-aircraft fire from the ground can hit them at 25,000 feet. Impossible. Impossible. They didn't have missiles, but they didn't have like laser-guided missiles back then. That can't happen. Priority, I don't care what the priority is really. Normal, sure. I mean, they're going to run these. So let's do that. We're going to do it over an area of like 5. And we're going to do it a little bit from our lines, a little bit from theirs. Now, we're not getting any kind of escort here, you see, which is interesting because it's actually staging at the base. We have all of our fighters. So will the Soviets come and just blow them out of the sky? Probably. So that's why I think maybe I put the intensity down to low. It's only going to run 8 missions, and I want it to look up interdiction in units themselves. And let's just see what happens. I want to test it at 25,000 feet and see if we get a little better luck. Maybe some of you guys have already figured that out. If so, let me know in the comments. But I just really can't... Oh, right. Okay, let's go look. Here, I'm going to confirm that. Let's go look at our recon. Some of our recon here. So we'll get off of air directives. Click on the... Oh, I took these off. There we go. I don't know. Let's look at Call Off 16. And let's look at possible loadouts. None. Okay. That's TAC recon. I guess strategic recon, don't they have a loadout for cameras? 16. Am I right about that? None. Okay. Let's look at our strat recon groups though. Call off north. This is strat recon. Loadout. Oh, we could put this auxiliary tank on it. Wow. I mean, it's already got a radius of 51 hexes. Well, that's pretty cool. So we could... How far up can these fly? 30,000 feet. Okay. I mean, we may as well put them up as far as possible. Now, they're not going to give us as good a recon, but they'll give us some recon. I don't know. I'm tempted to do one other recon this way, and then for Luftflotte 2 do them here, but I'm afraid I'm going to run out of recon planes doing tests. But we'll do it. We'll do it. Do I want all? Yes, I want all of the execution detail. I do want to see it. Okay, let's go to recon. We'll set up a new one, and let's do it, I don't know, shit, like there? Sure. We'll do it on those days. Let's do it at low, so it's only going to run 2 as of right now. This should make it like 8 missions. 14. That's a little too big. Let's make it 4. All right, this will tell us a little something before we go marching into Pskov, what's over here. So we'll do that. It's not getting any escort. Now, I could set this to, it has to have 1 escort, but we're not going to do that. And I'm going to take these up to 25,000 feet. We may get more operational losses this way, I just don't know. We'll just make this normal. Okay, interdict unit. Okay, and that's it. Those are the only air direct, for the most part, with the Luftwaffe from here on out. I just use them for ground support. I'm really doing this as kind of a test. I mean, I don't even think this is that important, but I just do want to see if it works. All right, let's go to Luftflotte 2. What time is it? Just want to make sure it's not going on too long here. Let's go to Luftflotte 2 and see what we see. See what we find out. Yes, M60, recon spam was a thing. As someone who's guilty of that myself, it was indeed a thing. Hello, Peru! Sake Chahele! Oh, I like the screen name. Viva la Peru! Hello, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. Big Interact says, I have to isolate Odessa from the sea to capture it. I do not, my friend. I do not. We'll see. We could do a bet. I'll bet you a beer. I do not. Yeah. The 25K altitude. Yeah, it's an interesting thought experiment. What was the camera technology back there to see anything? Well, I don't know. It wasn't good. Let's put it that way. It was not good. To be honest with you, a lot of their quote unquote recon was, having a spyglass up there and having a guy lean out of the plane and look. I mean, they did have cameras. Of course they had cameras, but, could they take pictures at 25,000 feet that could tell you anything? I don't know. We're going to find out. I should maybe read up about that. I don't know if the game, I mean, this game models a lot. I don't know if it's getting on that level, right? Okay, for Luftflotte 2, what do we want done here? Flexible. I want the supply priority to be medium. I do not want them stealing supplies from the Panzer groups, to be certain. So we're going to do all of this, and then we're going to have a follow 9th Army. And so I'm changing this up to where the recons are now following the armies, and 2 Flieger Corps, I'm also going to have a follow 9th Army. Am I though? Maybe I should have 2 Flieger Corps follow 3rd Panzer. Yeah, let's have it follow the 2 Panzer groups down here. 3rd Panzer group, okay, flexible, asset priority, nope. Let's take this down to 2. I'm going to put everything in the Air Forces on 2. I don't like the way it's shuffling things around. So 8th Flieger Corps is going to follow 2nd Panzer Group. If I can find it. Second. Oh, it's all the way at the bottom. 2nd Panzer Group. It's going to be on flexible. It's going to be on medium as well. Yeah, okay, that looks good. So we've got these guys set up. We've got 9th Army for Luftflotte 2 because it controls most of all the recon aircraft directly. We've got 8 Flieger Corps headed after 2nd Panzer and 2 Flieger Corps headed after 3rd Panzer. So, the 2 Flieger Corps should come up here. 8 Flieger Corps should, come up in this area. We'll see if that actually... I should probably put it on advance, but I don't want to this turn because I'm rebasing so many things that I want a lot of the moving around of operational people to happen right before the air execution phase. I could explain why, but it may take me a moment, and I'd rather just move on and get this part of the game, this part of thing taken care of. Call off 9, we're going to move back. We're going to put it there. That's fine. There are no support people here anymore, but I'm not that worried about it. I guess we could move them a little further north, though. Okay, hold on. I said I didn't care, but you knew that wasn't true. JG51's up here. That's perfect. That's where I want that. Then I have JG27. Where can I get that up to? There's an air base. That would work. Okay, let's start off with our fighter group, and let's put it on one of these 3 air bases. And I also think we'll move some of our bombers up here too. These are all level 2 air bases. That's awesome. Now, they're not going to have the benefit of a lot of things here at the start of the turn, but those things will catch up very quickly, and I'd like them right here. So, cool. Let's get that up there. We do have another fighter group, JG-53. I think eventually I'd like that to be in Vitebsk, but for now, I'll put it on these air bases. Right, okay. Immediate transfer. Okay. Okay, looking good. These are not in any way close to overstacked. Now, they are going to have a supply problem, although when we start to run the air execution phase, it's going to try to rush up support personnel. So that will help, because that's the main big red you're worried about. Call of 3 Panzer Group, for some reasons, all the way down here, and Call of 2 is up here. I don't really get that, because that's not, well, yes I do. That was my fault. This should be following 3rd Panzer Group. So let's put, oh, it changed when I did the big overall change. That's why that happened. All right, but that's fine. We're going to bring it up here. We'll rebase it immediately. Immediate transfer. Okay. And now we're going to take Call of 2 Panzer Group and put it down here. You may say you're kind of shuffling just for the sake of shuffling. There's a method to my madness, I swear. All right. Immediate transfer. Yes. And I want this to follow 2nd Panzer Group. All right. So we're going to get these all set up this time, so we got them right. And perfect. Okay, now then, Call of 4. We want that to follow itself, 4th Army. That's fine. We got enough flexible. It's in a good spot. Maybe a little too close to the front, actually. Why don't we move it back? Because I think we could get some bombers in there. I mean, I don't know. Let's just put it on some air. No, not in Minsk. Let's put you there. Okay. Transfer immediate. All right. Now then, we've got, these are bombers. We could move them kind of anywhere up in here, right? Here's one that's not being used. Again, it will move support personnel up here, so don't be scared if it just shows you a red color. It's important to get them up here as fast as you can, then let the game adjust to that. Transfer, immediate transfer. So, wow, those are our dive bombers, right? So that's good ground support, which is all we really want to do anyway. Lapel has some ability there. All right, so we've got these back here. We could actually straighten him up a little bit. Let's put him there. Transfer immediate. Okay. He's going to go up there. What else do we have that we have to deal with? A lot of stuff. We've got so many bombers back here. I just don't get it. I don't get it. SKG, what did we say these were? Fighter bombers that are bombers. Okay, fine. We're going to put those up here somewhere. We'll let the game decide. Transfer immediate. Okay, there we go. And then call off center. Shit, I don't know. Let's put it in Vilnius. I don't know why it's all the way back here. Or all the way down here. Immediate. What is it following? 9th Army? Perfect. Okay. Immediate transfer. Yes. Now, let's keep moving bombers. Let's keep moving bombers to the front. You know, they're way back here. Just seems ridiculous. Maybe these guys we'll put over here. These are also dive bombers. Immediate. I mean, they're flying like 200 air miles just to get to the front. What good is that doing you? Even if we have to wait a turn for supply or for support personnel to show up, it's still better off than having them all the way back there. I mean, they're just not doing any good back there, so we may as well bring as much of them to the front up here as we can. Immediate transfer, yes. What's getting overstacked here? Well, it looks like they all are, but they're not. Kamari, Zubar, okay. All these look fine, I think. They're still, I mean, they're just not that overstacked at all. Or they won't be. That's more accurate, right? KG-53. Yeah, hell, I don't know. We'll have them help over here a little bit. All right. And we'll immediately transfer them. It's spreading them out pretty well. It does a good job of that kind of stuff, right? If you tell it sort of where to go, it does a good job of dividing up the air group, so there's not too much at one or something. It does decent stuff like that, but this whole setup that it had, like KG2, I get it. It's running Naval interdiction supposedly, but there's no reason to have this back here. It's a level bomber group. Let's get it up here. You put them where you want, game. Immediate. All right. Let's go. Come on. We're almost there. See, it's got the transport group all the way back here. Boy, I hate that. I'm going to take the transport group. I'm going to put it in Minsk. And we're going to be airlifting shit out of Minsk like mad. Right. Now, we can't use him this turn, I don't believe, or that's how the game used to work. You may be able to do it on F9 now. We'll find out. During the ground phase, we're going to use our transport aircraft to great effect, I hope. As a matter of fact, you know what? While I'm at it, let's just put these guys in Riga. Let's just base them there, and we'll try to airlift everything we can out of Riga as well. Okay. So transport groups where there's huge depots with huge capacity, that's where you want them. They need to have 60,000 capacity, which is the most you can have. So that's where you want your transport groups sitting. You want them sitting there with a army command or higher to get the capacity up to 60,000. You got to get it. You got to goose it to get it up there. Kulov 4 transport, Kulov. Okay, we got two more groups here in the center. Oh, where do we want to help out? I don't know. Let's bring one of these groups, here, kind of in this area. That works. Immediate transfer. And then let's bring this other group again up in this area. The STGs, those are dive bombers. Let's bring them up here. All right. Now let's do an immediate transfer on those again. Nothing's showing that it would be overstacked normally at a level 2 airfield, so we should be all right once we get the support up here. And now you can see Luftflotte 2 has really moved up here great ways, and as have the Flieger Corps, because they center, right? Okay, I think this looks fine. Again, when we get our support up here, it'll make a big difference. Now let's look at the air directives for Luftflotte 2. It is supporting 9th Army, 2nd Panzer Group. Okay, why no 4th Army? Let's do that as well. Let's do another ground support. Let's go down here to the 4th Army. All right, confirm. Now see, I want these to be auto too. All right, so I'm going to clear these out. I don't want there to be specific groups, and I'll do this in the north as well. Shit, clear assignments, there we go. I was like, man, am I going to have to clear all those out? Nope. Let's do them all as autos. I think that works. Let the game pick the ground support, but that reminds me then we've got to go back to these two and make sure, yeah, let's clear assignments and make that auto. Now, there may be a very good reason why you would want certain groups to do certain things. For instance, if you have dive bombers, if you have a dive bomber AOG, you may want that to go after Soviet armor. And so if there happens to be a whole lot of Soviet armor that you're taking on, you may say, hey, I really want that to be, where the dive bombers focus. But really, I think just letting the game take it makes sense to me. So we got ground support on every group here. As a matter of fact, I kind of want to go up here and do this on 4th Panzer as well. Why wouldn't we? Right. Okay, well, that's fine. It can go after the recon. Let's do 4th Panzer Group. Confirm. Auto. Perfect. Okay. Let's go back then. If we're going to do 2nd Panzer Group, why wouldn't we do 3rd Panzer Group? Let's get ground support for everybody. You get ground support. You get ground support. 3rd Panzer is in the center. 3rd Panzer Group. Okay, confirm. All right, so if we look at our air directives now, we've got ground support going to each Panzer Group and each army. We have recon that we're going to test out in the north. If it works, next time I'll do it in the south as well. And maybe, well, I'll probably do it in the center and the south and no longer do it in the north. We know what's up in the north, so no biggie there. All right, I'm going to clear all of them out for Luftflotte 4. But we'll do the ground support up in Luftflotte 4 just the same. We'll also do it for Romanian, Hungarian, Slovak. But this is where I'm going to start. This is how I'm going to start doing my air forces all the time. I'm going to move them up, get them right at the front lines, and do nothing but ground support, which is traditionally how the Luftwaffe was used in, or historically how they were used anyway. M60 says, why wouldn't the stance of those AOGs set to flex, or why are they set to flexible? Well, because I'm moving them manually. So in some respects, it just comes down to when do you want the support personnel to try to move? They're going to try to move before the air execution phase in flexible. If I have it on advance, I've already advanced them, right? So I get no advantage having everything move around later, right? Because in advance, you're doing it kind of the normal way. No, I'm sorry. In flexible and hold, you're doing it the normal way, which if you have AI air assist on, everything's going to get shuffled around before you do air execution. So, you know, if you want those things to move around, you have to be in flexible or hold. The support and all that kind of stuff won't move around until after the ground phase if you have it on advance or retreat. Thank you, Phantom 453. That is very nice of you to say. I really appreciate it. I'm going to call this an episode. We're about an hour in here. I will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And I've got nothing else scheduled, meaning I'm not going to stream War in the Pacific, nothing else. It's only War in the East too. So I'm going to take at least a couple of hours, and we are going to move everything in Luftflotte 4. We're going to execute the air, do the air execution, and then we're going to start moving the ground units as well for turn 5. So we'll just keep going tomorrow, you know, for a certain, I don't know, probably a couple hours until I just collapse. Now, I could talk forever, evidently. It seems that way. But that's what I'm going to start doing on Saturdays. Also, if you're interested in the logistics, I will be dropping that logistics episode for the tutorial for this game, so part 10. And, you know, that will be up either later tonight or probably most likely early tomorrow. So if you're interested in the logistics, I really try to trace every piece of freight that comes out of Frankfurt, Berlin, Vienna, and Prague, and then we go to the front. So I'm gonna have the pencil out. I'm gonna be drawing. So if you only tune in for me to use the pencil on my recording software, you, sir, are in luck. Because you will get that tomorrow morning with logistics. Anyway, thank you guys so much for dropping by. I had a great time. I always do. Thank you for all of the comments and the back and forth. I think I'm finally got my head all the way around this air war, and I like the way, you know, I'm going to shape it up here. Now, it's going to take a couple of turns, you know, for us to get resupplied, resupported, and all of that. But, you know, we got to do what we got to do. We had to take over. So anyway, thank you guys so much. Strategy Gaming Dojo. I'll talk